So going on a cruise is always an adventure, and for someone like me, that adventure is all about the food. I just got back from a 7-day cruise on a Norwegian Getaway, and today I'm gonna make you an expert at everything food related aboard this impressive ship. Whether you're looking for the best free dining, curious about the specialty restaurants, or wondering which venues to avoid, I got you covered. The Getaway's main dining room experience is split into 3 venues: Taste, Savor, and Manhattan, all serving the same menu from the same kitchen. The decor is different in each, but the food is identical. Breakfast and dinner are served daily, and lunch is available on sea days and embarkation day only. Now, I'll be very blunt, the MDR is NCL's weakest link. As a foodie, I avoided it as much as possible. The food often felt mass-produced, with some dishes tasting overly salty and others very bland. Sauces sometimes reminded me of something straight out of a can. Breakfast in the MDR was disappointing. My ham and cheese omelet was greasy and salty. My home fries were undercooked, and no one came around with bread or pastries, which kind of meant that 20% of the menu was basically off limits at that time. The fruit plate and yogurt parfait were solid, but that's about it. Lunches and dinners were inconsistent. My tomato soup tasted canned. My shrimp cake was greasy with unpleasant textures. Tilapia was barely edible. Now that said, there were some bright spots. A good Caesar salad on one of the lunches, a fantastic cream of mushroom soup, loaded baked potato, and beef moussaka topped with tiramisu. That day was a very rare, but still a 9 out of 10. And yes, the chocolate lava cake is genuinely delicious, even though I'm not a dessert person. One thing to note, NCL ditched formal nights a long time ago. There is no special lobster night or prime rib night here, unless you decide to pay for it. I think almost every other cruise line that I've been on does have a special formal night at the main dining room when you cruise with them 7 days or longer. If you're not a picky eater, the MDR will be fine, but food lovers will want to limit their visits here. Now, Garden Café, which is your buffet on the NCL Getaway, actually surprised me in a good way. Breakfast omelets here were miles better than the MDR. Thank you, Chef.
Coffee.
Thank you, Chef. Appreciate it. Cheers. Thank you. And you'll find crepes, fresh fruit, and a solid variety of hot breakfast options. The yogurt selection was kind of basic, only Dannon. But breakfast tacos and made-to-order egg stations were excellent. Lunch offered grilled shrimp, baked fish, custom pasta, ramen, and soup stations that were all very good. Now, dinner could be busy and loud, but there were some standout items on the menu like cheese lobster ravioli, brie salad, and an outstanding braised lamb shank, better than what I had at La Cucina. That's a paid restaurant, which we'll talk about in just a second. Now, not everything is a hit. Barbecue ribs were mediocre, and the fish cake was definitely a miss. But I was pleasantly surprised by the buffet extravaganza night, featuring shrimp, prime rib, and other upscale items. And yes, there was free ice cream daily at the buffet, including soft serve. So overall, this is not as good of a buffet as what you'd find on premium lines like Celebrity or Princess, but for NCL, it's the best I've seen so far, and in my opinion, a better option than MDR on the Getaway. And here's an example of how you're greeted at the buffet every single morning. These two put a smile on my face whenever I went to the buffet.
Happy, happy, smiley, smiley.
And by the way, my name is Tom Sunday. I make a ton of cruise videos to help you have a better vacation. In fact, I have a ton more videos coming up on the NCL Getaway and other really interesting ships. So make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so YouTube recommends my next helpful video to you. Ocean's Bar and Grill is a pub-style venue that's open almost 24/7, serving breakfast, lunch, dinner, and a late-night snack. Breakfast here is fantastic for a free option. Fresh omelets, breakfast sandwiches, and solid fruit plates. The service is quick, and because they have their own kitchen right there in the restaurant, food comes out hot and fresh, unlike the main dining room. Now, lunch and dinner here were a bit of a step down. Blue cheese burger was overcooked, and instead of actual blue cheese, they used blue cheese dressing. I mean, that's kind of insane. Pretzel bites were more like dense bread balls, and the dessert was of course overly sweet. Think like a casual chain restaurant food, Applebee's or Chili's level. If you ever been, then that's the kind of lunch and dinner that you can expect here. My advice is to hit Ocean's for breakfast and skip the rest unless you're craving bar food. American Diner is also open for breakfast and lunch. This venue serves American comfort food in a retro diner setting. My smoked fish dip was, well, forgettable, but the pulled pork sliders and fries were juicy and flavorful. If you're from the US, it's nothing special. You probably had better at home, but international guests might find it charming. Now, Shanghai Noodles is hands down my favorite free spot on the ship. They serve Asian dishes for dinner. My steamed pot stickers were fresh and perfectly made. The glass noodles in vegetable broth were flavorful, and my fried rice was spot on. Oh, and the panda fruit salad was exotic and very refreshing. I honestly can't say anything negative about the food at this place. The one downside here is that getting in is nearly impossible. Even though it's free, it requires reservations, and those sell out almost instantly. I boarded the ship at noon on embarkation day and could only get one spot for an entire cruise, and I was traveling solo. So my suggestion is to snag a table as early as possible. Check your cruise planner, maybe you can get in then, or just shoot straight for the reservation line as soon as you get on the ship to make sure you can get in there at least once. To be honest with you, I would have eaten here every night if I could. Now let's talk about the specialty restaurants on board the NCL Getaway. All of these you will have to pay for. Let's start with Le Bistro, which is a French restaurant with elegant setting, excellent food, but of course it's a bit pricey. At $60 plus per person for the cover charge, and still having upcharges for premium dishes like lobster thermidor, this is not cheap. However, everything I tried was delicious. I love French food and this was done really well. However, the nickel and diming takes away from the experience. Lobster thermidor is one of my favorite French dishes, and I'd have to pay $25 on top of the cover charge just to order that main course. To me, that's a big negative, but you decide for yourself. La Cucina is an Italian restaurant with $40 plus per person cover charge. My calamari lacked crispiness and the sauce needed more punch. The mushroom risotto was outstanding, but the ossobuco was actually lamb shank, not veal. The desserts were average, but in general, La Cucina was kind of a hit or miss. Yes, they have good pizza, but unless that's what you're after, to be honest with you, I'd skip it. Ocean Blue is a seafood restaurant with $60 plus per person cover charge. Ocean Blue is beautifully presented with seafood and fantastic flavors. My tuna avocado tower and scallop appetizers were both 10 out of 10. My tuna steak was cooked perfectly. But even here, the lobster or the surf and turf will cost you extra $25 on top of the cover charge. Again, I really don't understand why you'll go to a seafood restaurant and have to pay extra for lobster when there's already a cover charge. But I won't repeat myself. Wasabi Sushi and the Raw Bar are also very good. Both of them are sort of like attached to Ocean Blue. Think of it like a seafood corner on the Getaway. Both Wasabi and the Raw Bar are $50 per person for any 4 items. At Wasabi, you can load up on sushi rolls, filling, but of course lots of rice, or go for high quality items like sashimi. For example, my tuna sashimi was some of the best tuna I've ever had in my life. It was delicious. So I like having flexibility of either choosing a lot of food or like maybe really expensive high quality items if you want. The Raw Bar on the other side offers mussels, scallops, crab legs, of course all in raw form, but I skipped it this time. I loved wasabi so much I kept going back there. It was delicious. I highly recommend it if you like sushi. Now Cagney's is a classic steakhouse on the NCL Getaway and the only specialty venue serving filet mignon without an upcharge. Seriously, there's no other place where you can get a filet mignon sort of like quote unquote for free. Now this place, you definitely have to book it early. It sells out so quickly. It's one of the most famous restaurants on NCL, right? Cagney's is on every NCL ship and everybody tries to book it. So my suggestion is to do it in the cruise planner if you can do it early. By the way, when you're here, you can also splurge for a dry aged steaks, but that's not included in the price. So that's definitely going to be extra. But in my opinion, the included cuts like that filet mignon is perfect. I would really stick with that unless you want to get something exotic. Another really good restaurant and technically one of my favorites on other NCL ships is Moderno Churrascaria. That's a Brazilian steakhouse. Before going on the Getaway, it was my favorite specialty venue on board any NCL ship. They have endless skewers of grilled meats, sausages, Parmesan crusted chicken, and that incredible grilled pineapple. I love the grilled pineapple in Moderno Churrascaria. It's so good. Now the salad bar was also good. Usually a lot of variety. They even have some sushi, lots of cheese. But to be honest with you, I noticed it kind of gotten a little bit lighter than what I've seen on other NCL ships in the past. It's clear that there are some cuts going on here. In fact, they recently removed the filet mignon from the rotation of the meats. It's now replaced by the strip steak, which to be honest with you was excellent, right? It's probably the best strip steak I've ever had, but still a cost-cutting move that kind of stinks. I was just cruising on the NCL Gem last year. I was in Moderno Churrascaria. The salad bar was a lot heavier. There were a ton of different items, and there was definitely filet mignon being walked around on skewers. I remember because it was one of my favorite things to eat there. When I sat down at Moderno Churrascaria this time on the Getaway, I was really excited to try that filet mignon, but unfortunately my server looked at me and said, "Sorry sir, that was removed. Now it's just a strip steak." Now I do have to give a shout out to the chefs in the back there because that strip steak was cooked really well. They did the best job they possibly could. I really honestly don't think that you can have a better strip steak. However, it's still not a filet mignon and definitely a cost-cutting measure. I guess it's still good and still a good value. It provides unlimited food. You can eat as much as you want. There are a ton of different options. I'm not really into the pork stuff. There are a ton of really fatty like pork belly and other options that I just generally don't eat, but it is very good and I've seen a lot of people try them. So this is still a good restaurant. I could still recommend it. I just wish they brought back the filet mignon. Another place I skipped on the cruise was Teppanyaki. But again, I've done this on a bunch of other NCL ships. Think hibachi style cooking with the performance. If you've never tried it, it's definitely a lot of fun. If you've been locally, expect basically the exact same thing. Now, one restaurant that's completely exclusive only to Haven suite guests is of course the Haven restaurant. Now I couldn't try it because I wasn't sailing in a suite. In fact, I didn't even know where it was. It's so exclusive. However, I definitely want to review it. So make you a promise right now, when we hit 50,000 subscribers, I'm gonna save up money and I'm gonna book a Haven suite to review for you. So do me a favor and make sure that you're subscribed because you definitely don't want to miss this out. NCL Getaway's Achilles heel is definitely the main dining room. It's fine for non-picky eaters, but foodies will want to lean heavily on the buffet, oceans for breakfast, and specialty dining if they can afford it. Shanghai noodles is a must-try if you can snag a reservation. The buffet surprised me in a good way, and some specialty venues like Moderno, Wasabi, and Ocean Blue are worth the splurge. But you will need to plan your dining strategy or be ready to pay extra to turn your cruise into that culinary adventure I was talking about earlier. If you have any questions, drop them down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.